Good afternoon, and welcome to the DFS Army YouTube channel. I'm Razzle and you can find me on X at Razzle11Grinds. Going to take a look at the pitching for today, the 22nd of September. It is Monday. We do have just 3 games to worry about, so we're going to kind of try to talk through some pitching and just the game itself at this point. Maybe add a little more context to some of these pitchers. Really not some of these pitchers. But Freddie Peralta, maybe Nick Pivetta, I guess even Chris Sale, coming down to the last week of the season. But from my understanding, we don't have any weather to worry about, so we get to just jump right in. Reminder, this definitely is a first look at the pitching options on the slate. And I will be looking at DraftKings as that is where a majority of my action is. Over on FanDuel, you don't have to be as creative. Pricing isn't quite as tight. So you can get the stack spots you want, generally with one of the top tier pitchers, where you really want to focus on strikeout upside even more on FanDuel. So we'll just go game by game and kind of talk through the scenario since we are the final week of the season. Chris Sale, Mackenzie Gore. Both pitchers have spent time on the IL this season. So what are we going to get out of them? I think we get normal starts just because both guys would be slated to start this weekend at some point, and that could be their abbreviated performance. Last time out, Chris Sale saw 106 pitches. Time before 93, 92. First start off the IL, 78. So his pitch numbers are there. He has 4 strikeouts in 4 straight starts. All 4 of his starts since coming off the IL, 9 strikeouts each start. I think he's somebody that wants to go, as deep as possible. He wants to throw 100 pitches. He wants to dominate. He dominated the Nationals earlier this season. I just see that he's going to continue being Chris Sale, at least for this start. The one coming up on the weekend, now we could see an abbreviated performance and him go, 3, 4, maybe even 5 innings. Guys do still like to pick up their wins, especially a guy like Chris Sale. All numbers matter going forward for him from a career standpoint, so I guess wins do matter. But in this particular spot, Chris Sale doesn't strike me as somebody that's going to throw 75 pitches, be done after 5, and just slowly coast into the offseason. Mackenzie Gore on the other side has spent time on the IL. He's been all over the place in terms of production. His last start came against this Atlanta squad. You know how I feel about back-to-back starts against the same team. It definitely benefits the opposition. Now, somebody like Mackenzie Gore traditionally has faced them a few times. The evened out schedule now kind of takes away the amount of times that divisional opponents face each other, so it does cut back on the appearances, but still, he was solid against Atlanta last time out. Not spectacular, but solid. A couple of the Braves bats have definitely hit him well over their careers, but still, there is upside in Mackenzie Gore. Hasn't shown real upside in nearly a month and a half. But this is just his 3rd start back off the IL. So we should see a bit of an increase, I would think, in performance. Probably in the mid-90s in pitch total. I would believe he did make a 14-pitch jump from his first start off the IL to his second. So we probably do see him in the mid-90s. So I would consider it most likely a status quo game for Mackenzie Gore. I don't think they'd be just get us 5 innings over your last, in your last 2 starts and call it a season. Mackenzie Gore doesn't strike me as the kind of guy that would be interested in that either. He definitely has that mindset of an ace where he just wants to pitch and pitch. But on this slate, I would use both guys. Chris Sale for sure. Mackenzie Gore definitely a sprinkle in. There's enough upside. I do like the Atlanta offense a little bit, but that feels like a matchup that you can play both sides and feel okay about no matter what happens. Milwaukee, San Diego. Now this exercise for this video is really focused on a guy like Freddie Peralta. San Diego doesn't strike out a whole lot. Freddie's road numbers not as strong as home. He gives up a lot more home runs on the road. Now San Diego's a ballpark that doesn't see a lot of home runs hit. He was really strong against San Diego the one time he faced them, but still just 3 strikeouts. It's tough to predict upside with him in this spot, but he does have 8+ strikeouts in 4 straight starts, and that was after going 5 consecutive with 7 or fewer strikeouts. Now, the big question is what does Milwaukee do? They just put Brandon Woodruff on the IL. He is up in the air for the postseason, or at least the first round. So what happens? The Brewers are playing Saturday, the 5th or 6th? The 4th, sorry. So they're locked in. Game 1 is Saturday the 4th. They definitely want Freddie Peralta to start Game 1. Being that it's Saturday, I think that almost falls on exact rest. It might be even an extra day, but still, I don't know that they push him to 100+ pitches in the spot. I do think they still want to win to hold off Philadelphia, so it's not like they're just throwing in the towel. But I actually could see them hold him the 5 to 6 innings. He hasn't thrown more than 6 innings since July 13th, as it is. So we definitely could see him in a 5-inning start. And we definitely aren't going to see him for more than a few innings on the weekend. I can tell you that for sure. Obviously, we can touch on that when that weekend comes for that video. But the conservation plan probably starts today with Freddie Peralta. It might have started previously, but he was still throwing in the 90s for pitch count. I just think, based on the opponent, that he's probably a 5-inning guy, to be honest, today. Now, that doesn't mean I'm not going to use him. 3-game slate. One of the top 3 talented pitchers on the slate in ability, so I'm going to use him, but still, if it was a larger slate, I think it might be a decent spot to fade him, but since it's not, we're using him. On the other side, Nick Pivetta. San Diego is in the thick of things for sure. Right now, they hold the second wild card spot by 5 games over the third, so they're feeling pretty good. So it's a fact that they have to now try to set up their rotation for the postseason, while making sure they win a couple games too. They'd be playing on Tuesday the 30th, which means that Pivetta is looking at this being his last start of the regular season, unless they absolutely need a win, this coming weekend. But with it being his last start and they're trying to make sure they're setting themselves up, this is a spot where I could see him throw 80 pitches again. He did struggle in this one, so 84 pitches. Did struggle a little bit in this one, 83 pitches. I just don't think he's going to see 100 pitches. I could be wrong. I'm just trying to predict what these teams are going to do in these spots with postseason coming up or just the offseason. Pivetta at home has been phenomenal. Just absolutely ridiculous at home this season. Milwaukee's not an easy matchup by any means. But we also could see Milwaukee sprinkle in some rest days for some of the regulars over the course of the next 6 games. So it is possible that the lineup is a little weaker than if they were, fighting for a playoff spot. I'm going to use Pivetta, but like Peralta, I am going to kind of exercise some caution. I just don't think they're pushing him 7 innings for 100 pitches in this spot, especially because their bullpen has been so strong. 5 to 6 innings might be all they need to turn it over to that bullpen. And I could see them, setting themselves up for next Tuesday by giving Pivetta basically a stay sharp start this evening. And when he kind of feels or they think they've seen enough, they just pull the plug. I'm not saying they're going to pull the plug after 3 innings. I don't really think they're going to pull the plug after 4 innings, but I think 5 or 6 is probably where it happens, and I would not be shocked if it really is 5 innings. Last game of the night, one of the, I guess, not so exciting matchups in this scenario. I guess the Washington-Atlanta isn't all that exciting other than the fact that it's 2 very interesting pitchers. The Giants are still in contention. So are the Cardinals, technically. The Giants are 3 games back, and the Cardinals are 4 games back of that last wild card spot. Problem is that last spot is tied between the Reds and Mets, plus Arizona's ahead of both of them. So there's a lot that has to happen, but they're not out of it. So, what do we get out of that? We're going to get San Francisco managing, like their backs completely against the wall. So if Verlander is struggling at all, I think there has to be a quick hook. 4 starts ago, he threw 121 pitches just to get through 5 innings. 121 pitches. That's ridiculous. They obviously came back, dialed it back, and had him just throw 88 pitches, and that was against the same St. Louis team that he actually looked really strong against. Back over 100 pitches in his last 2. I have to believe that as long as he is not atrocious, he is going to throw 100 pitches, 100 plus. And that's something that we're trying to take advantage of in these contests because we need length from our starters. We need the access to those fantasy points as this week progresses. So I think Verlander, even though St. Louis does not strike out all that much, is in a strong spot, especially because he is pitching at home in this ballpark. And it's a park we love. His K numbers are stronger at home. His overall fantasy numbers much stronger, almost over 5 fantasy points per game, stronger at home. He has just 3 wins on the year. I think he kind of takes that personally. So I think it's a really good spot for Verlander to try to dial it up a little bit. And if they do some work over the next few days, his start on the weekend could matter a ton. And in that spot, they're not trying to set themselves up for the postseason. They're just trying to get there. Verlander then, becomes somebody that might be tasked with 5, 6, 7 innings. But it also comes with the risk of a quick hook. He could be rolling and he could hit a wall, in the 5th and allow a few base runners. And if it's a 1-0 game or something, I could see San Francisco going to the bullpen because they basically have to manage their staff like this is a postseason game. They can't really afford any more losses. They basically have to go 6-0 to finish the season, and that might not even be good enough. So, on the other side, St. Louis definitely has to go 6-0, being 4 games out, and 6-0 definitely might not be good enough. McGreevy's coming off of a great start. I would guess his best of the year. Yeah. His other one was his first start of the season, but his starting in San Francisco was atrocious. So taking on that same squad just 3 starts later, really tough to trust, but same thing with San Francisco, backs against the wall, like I could see a quick hook. But if he's cruising like he's done somewhat recently, 90 pitches probably it, but I just don't think he has much upside into 7 innings. The ballpark is great, so I am, we are using every pitcher on this slate just because it's a 3-gamer. But I do think McGreevy's a guy that probably is my lowest owned. It'll be he or actually Freddie Peralta, if I'm being honest. I just don't know if I want to be overweight on Freddie Peralta in a spot that Milwaukee's just seen some injuries happen, and they don't want to have something pop up and cost them a deep run in the postseason. So, but there we have it. There's our first look at some of the pitching matchups. If you enjoy what I bring to you, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, turn the notification bell on, keep the alerts on so you get notified anytime we drop videos here at DFS Army. You want to join us, get access to our coaches, tools, sheets, Discord, etc. There'll be a link in the description a little bit below. You can use promo code RAZ, that's R-A-Z, for 10% off monthly. And there'll also be a link to the merch store. Check it out, check out my design, etc. Best of luck.